My husband Mark and I have this thing every time we talk about we've got too much food. It's called EMG, everything must go. Well, at a time when we are like right now, social distancing, we're trying to use up food in our pantry. And I've asked a friend of mine, Brad Seaman, he's with Painted Plate in Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you come to the furniture market, you've probably had some of his food at Baker Furniture and lots of different furniture companies that his company is catered for. I've asked him to kind of clean out some things in his refrigerator, bring it over and teach us when you have things in your refrigerator, what do you do with them? How do you make use of what you have without letting it go to waste? We don't want to be wasteful ever, but especially now. We don't want to go to the grocery store as much. We can't do that. So Brad, help us understand what you've done here and kind of what your thoughts are.
Well, first of all, Ellen, I think what we're really trying to do is find those things that are way in the back of the pantry that you really have no idea what to do. And this may not be the Chateaubriand lobster thermidor meal of a lifetime, but the reality is that what we're really trying to do, as you mentioned, is use the food we have, but it's all gonna make a great meal. It's all gonna be able to feed your family. So this is gonna be a Szechuan cabbage. What I did was I just trimmed the edge off of this cabbage. If you'll notice that at the beginning it was a little discolored. I just trimmed that off, trimmed off the bottom. Here's that big fat stem. I'm just gonna make a V cut and I'm gonna discard this. Really, it just takes
Okay, I wanna tell you what I do, sorry. One of the things Mark and I do, and I'm gonna show you, excuse me, we have someone at our office that composts. So I keep a compost pot in my refrigerator, and I put compost in there, and when it gets full, I freeze it. And I also have a friend who happens to have a pig, so we use it for two things. So I compost as much as I can. I'm gonna leave this here for other stuff.
Outstanding. I will promise you we'll make some composted stuff. So we're just gonna knock out real quick this, I'm gonna do kind of a spicy Szechuan style cabbage. This could not be easier. I've got saute pan here warming up over medium heat. I'm gonna take this knife and I'm gonna cut a pretty good chunk of butter that's gonna go in there. In fact, I think I'm just gonna put more butter in there because, now that we're really staying home, nobody's gonna look at us anyway. I think we should enjoy our food. And the things that make food good, as far as I'm concerned, is basically salt and fat. But I'll try to limit that just so you feel better about yourself. So we're gonna go with heat, we're gonna go with a little bit of fat, and we're gonna use garlic, which is gonna be kind of a universal theme, at least the garlic in a lot of things we're doing. So I just got a couple cloves of garlic. I'm just gonna slice them really thin. This is not a chopped garlic type of thing. You kind of want the slices, but you do want them thin. So while that butter is melting, one of the advantages of doing this is that I know that I'm not gonna, while that butter is still yellow, I'm not gonna get too much heat on that garlic. I don't want that garlic to color. So now that the pan's starting to warm, I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. And while I'm prepping my other ingredients, I want that garlic just to kind of melt in that butter, soften and sweeten. Now, I told you there was gonna be a hot component of this. This could be any kind of a Thai pepper. Chances are pretty good. In our refrigerator, we had a jalapeno. So, might not be Szechuan, but it's gonna work just fine. I'm gonna take just a couple thin slices of that jalapeno. And while this garlic is starting to, what you're watching here with the butter is that that white part is just the butter. It's the milk solids in the butter. And as this foams away, we're gonna have a little bit of residue, but what we're really getting to is a point where it's just more pure fat, which is gonna allow the heat to come up a little bit. And so when you talk about the foam subsiding, those are the milk solids in the butter that we want those to kind of go away because we don't want to boil things when we saute them, we want to sear them. So I like hot, Mark and Ellen like hot, so this is gonna be hot. I'm gonna put my jalapeno back for a little later appearance. I cannot emphasize how easy this dish is. So again, now I'm down to probably a low medium heat right now. I just want that butter to go and I'm gonna I've stripped off the outer leaves of my cabbage. So now I've got something, no discoloration, everything's pretty. And I want this to be fairly big pieces. The next thing I'm gonna do is add some sesame oil. Sesame oil, very fragrant. That's probably about 2 tablespoons that I just put in there. But sesame oil doesn't love a tremendous amount of heat. You gotta be a little careful with that. This does not have to be a high heat dish. So now I'm still letting my garlic melt, got my jalapenos, I've got my sesame oil. So what I've created is a pretty spicy garlicky oil right there. And you'll start to see just a little bit of coloration on the garlic. So next, I'm just gonna add my cabbage. And I'm just braising this down.
I don't think we've ever made this in our house, so I'm excited that it's being made and how easy it is. And that's part of it, is learning easy things to do.
And now you'll notice that eventually I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of soy sauce, and I also can knock it down with a little bit of chicken stock. Okay, so so we were discussing how you might not have everything you want, but you can usually figure out what you really need. Well, one of those things is chicken stock. So, I gotta tell you, if you read the package on a lot of chicken stock you buy at the store, it tells you it's got chicken and salt in it, but it doesn't tell you what the proportions are. And oftentimes, you're buying chicken base that's just rehydrated with water. So what we've got here is a little bit of chicken bouillon. And because I really want a little chicken flavor, I took this bouillon, I crushed it between my fingers, and I'm just gonna open this packet a little bit and dissolve it in a little bit of my hot pasta water. So I'm gonna be adding enough heat to this that I don't really have to do a lot with it. This is gonna, now one thing about this bouillon is it's gonna add a little salt. But when this goes in here,
So this isn't even on. This was just hot water and bouillon just to make it.
right, just to melt it down and to make sure it blends. And then, so you can see, I'm starting to get a little wilting on this cabbage. The bottom's good. Now I'm going to turn the heat up. But what I don't want to do, and you can smell the sesame and the garlic. So what I don't want to do is burn that garlic. That's really important. So my cheat, so I don't have to worry about that now that I've got this cooking a little bit, is I'm just gonna add about probably a 1/4 cup of that chicken stock in there and let this braise down. And see how this is gonna go super fast now, because I can turn the heat up and let this roll.
Yeah, look at that, wow.
About done, see, and it's pretty, and it's just a really great dish. And now, the only thing I really need to finish this up is a splash of soy, which is going to give me a little more salt. I don't want to really cook it a long time, so I'm going to give that a quick stir. Now I like a little bit of bite in it, so I don't want to cook this down to mush. And it will continue to cook. And the other nice thing about this dish is I like it like hot. However, and one of the things I guess any chef is going to pride himself is on his timing. But the reality is you can start this and put it aside and just pop it back in the pan to warm it up when you finish the other ingredients.
All right, so this is
Szechuan cabbage.
Oh, yum.